Hello and welcome back. Let's get started talking about example 3, identifying correlations. So let's go ahead and identify the correlation you would expect to see between the pair of data sets. And remember, there's positive correlations, negative correlations, and then no correlations. And we talked about that in our previous example. Remember right here? So something that looks like this is a positive correlation, something looks like this is a negative correlation, and then with everything scattered all around, that's no correlation. So let's look at this particular example and see if we can identify what type of correlation it is. So it says the average temperature in a city and the number of speeding tickets given in the city. Okay. So a lot of times when I'm doing something like this, I like to create a graph of my own. And so we have temperature, right? And then we have number of speeding tickets. This is supposed to say speeding. That's just imagine that that says speeding, okay? So let's think about it. The average temperature in a city and the number of speeding tickets given in the city. All right. Okay, so let's say the temperature is low, somewhere low. What do you think the number of speeding tickets would be? Well, I kind of think it could almost just be anything, right? You could give a lot of speeding tickets, or maybe, you know, you don't give that many, or there could be something in between. If the temperature is a little bit warmer, I think it would be kind of like the same thing, right? Or if it was really high, it would kind of be the same thing. So I think that this would end up having a lot of points all over the place. So I think this is an excellent example of no correlation. All right, let's look at the next one. Okay, so for the next one, we're looking at the number of people in an audience and the ticket sales. Okay, so I'm gonna make another graph here. I'm gonna have number of people on the bottom and ticket sales here. So let's see, what happens when there is not that many people? Is there a lot of ticket sales? I would say no. I would say the ticket sales would be very small. What if there was a lot of people? I would say that the ticket sales would be pretty high, right? And so I think the more people you get, the more the ticket sales go up, right? So this, I think, is a great example of what a positive correlation looks like. All right, let's look at another example. 3C states a runner's time and the distance to the finish line. A runner's time and the distance to the finish line. Okay, so I'm gonna draw another graph. I'm gonna put a runner's time and this is going to be distance to finish line. All right, so let's look at this. Okay, so let's think about it. When the runner doesn't have, like, it's barely started, right? The race barely started, and so the time is very minimal. That, I would think that that is when the distance to the finish line would be the most, right? Because you just start the race. And so if the race is, 400 yards, at the beginning of the time, you would be 400 yards away, right? So I would say that the distance. But as the runner's time increases, the distance to the finish line gets smaller and smaller and smaller until you hit the however long it took the runner to run the race, and then the distance to the finish line would be 0, right? So this is a wonderful example of a negative correlation. See how it's kind of going down? All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is your turn to check it out with example 3A. Oops, can't quite get it there. Okay, I want you to go ahead and try. Oh, here's my friend the Pause Dragon, reminding you to pause your device. Go ahead and work this problem out. When you get done, press play and we'll talk about it together. All right, see you in a bit. All right, let's see how you did. Okay, this says the temperature in Houston and the number of cars sold in Boston. Okay. All right, so the temperature in Houston, let's say temp in Houston, and cars sold in Boston? You know, if the temperature's low in Houston, who knows what happens? I mean, maybe they sell a lot of cars. Maybe they don't sell that many. Maybe they sell a little bit. If the temperature is high in Boston, maybe they sell a lot of cars in Boston. Or, I mean, when the temperature is high in Houston, that's what I meant to say. Maybe they sell a medium amount, or maybe they don't sell that many in Boston. I really think that this could be all over the place because there's really no correlation. So if you said no correlation, awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, let's try a couple other examples. I want you to try check it out 3B and also check it out 3C. So where's my friend? Where's my friend? Here's my friend, the Pause Dragon. Remind you to pause your device. Go ahead and work out those two problems. When you get done, press play and we'll talk about them. All right, let's see how you did. We have the number of members in a family and the size of the family's grocery bill. Oh, okay. So number of people in family, and we'll just do grocery bill. This one should be pretty obvious. So if there's not that many people in the family, I would say the grocery bill is probably not that high. If there's a lot of people in the family, I would say that grocery bill is probably high. So to me, this looks definitely like a positive correlation. So if you said positive correlation, great job. All right, let's look at the next one. The next problem says the number of times you sharpen your pencil and the length of your pencil. Okay, this one's interesting. All right, so number of times you sharpen pencil and pencil length would be here. Okay, so let's say you haven't sharpened your pencil at all. So that's 0 amount of times. I would say the length would be the biggest. The pencil length would be the biggest that it can be. Let's say if you sharpen your pencil just once, then what's gonna happen is your pencil's gonna length is gonna get a little shorter. And then let's say you sharpen it a few more times, well, it's gonna get shorter. And then if you are just a sharpening like crazy person, eventually your pencil is going to be a wee bit little pencil. So I think this is a wonderful example of a negative correlation. So if you got that one right, yokiniki, you did a wonderful job. And if you didn't, go ahead and adjust your notes so they look like mine. All right, we'll see you in a little bit for example 4.